I'd like to be.
Right.
And the only thing I have to do to be disciplined from someone who's not, like, I'm not a natural, and like, I'm not sure if anyone is. I don't know if naturally disciplined, maybe more inclined than others.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, I think discipline's a choice.
I agree. It's a choice.
It's easier for some people to make that choice than other people.
And it's not across the board. Like, I'm really good at discipline for work. Mm-hmm. I'm really good at discipline for training consistency. Mm-hmm. I'm not great discipline on diet.
I can sympathize with that.
Right. And so it's simply a choice, but as of today, you know, like if I eat the right things today, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then until I don't, I'm disciplined.
Right.
Right. And so I'm a disciplined guy until I fuck that up. And so it's a choice. Like, if you want to be disciplined, you just simply have to decide right now that you'll do those things that equal being a disciplined person.
Yes.
And so while naturally I'm not disciplined, I can do disciplined things. Right. And I'm trying to do them better. Right. I am naturally fucking lazy.
I
do things that equal not a lazy person.
Yeah.
But my natural state is wanting to do fucking nothing.
Yeah. There's a lot of times where I'm sitting around watching TV and I'm like, you lazy piece of shit, get up and do this. And I'm like, but I really don't want to. Like, I'm okay right here.
Yeah, you can pull this a little closer to you, Chad. Keep it about a fist.
Okay. And so it's easy for me. Now, it's funny because I look back now and I go, for 15 years, basically, powerlifting was 24/7. Like, that was everything. There was a period in there where I didn't even date because I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to give this other person anywhere near the attention. Like, powerlifting is above everything.
Sure.
So after that kind of ended and you go back to regular life, I'm like, wow, powerlifting was actually easier because it was really easy for me to go, fuck that, I got to train. Fuck that, I got to train. Fuck that, I got to train.
Well,
and now it's like, well, wait a minute. Now I got all these other things that are and all these different priorities where it was almost easier. And people go, wow, it's so hard. You're so dedicated. And I'm like, how hard is it to go to the gym and beat the crap out of yourself? Like, I love doing that.
Right.
That's not hard. That's not difficult.
I like it.
Like, yeah, it's fun for me.
Yeah. And not only that, like, I loved, such different chapters in my training, right? And like, when I think about powerlifting, like, that's really when I trained with a group. Mm-hmm. And I trained with Gary Frank's team, Hardcore Barbell down in Louisiana when I did the geared stuff. And I'm really glad I got to be part of that chapter of powerlifting because it doesn't exist anymore.
You know, it was, I am very fortunate that, like, my heyday was in a crazy time of crazy guys with crazy personalities. And like, it was just different than it is now.
No,
like,
way different than it is now. You're one of those dudes. You're one of those dudes that I remember finding early on through Elite and being like, fuck, and this is crazy. Like, the weights you were lifting, the stuff you were doing, the approach you guys had to this insane style of lifting, especially with all the heavy geared stuff, was so interesting to me.
And it was like, records were just falling all the time. And it was almost to where guys were, it was like you wanted to win the WPO, but you wanted to put up crazy numbers. Like, it was just who could get crazier, who can do the craziest shit.
Yeah. The WPO years were wild.
It was awesome. I mean, I look back at it now and I'm like, dude, I was very fortunate to come along when I came along. And I think that actually helped me out too, because I have a geared personality. Like, I love all lifting. To me, lifting should be like drag racing. Like, really, you should have stock, pro stock, top fuel.
I'm into it.
I'm a top fuel dude.
Yeah, I'm not interested in. I don't know. I find drug testing powerlifting kind of boring. Or not. Yeah. I don't find it boring. I just don't care about the caveat of whether or not the lifter was clean anymore.
Yeah,
because it doesn't mean anything.
Nobody does.
I think some people do, and I think young lifters do, and whatever.
Yeah, I don't. Honestly, because I steroids is a funny subject for me because I grew up believing the government BS. I actually wrote papers on why steroids are horrible and all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm never doing steroids, and then I get into powerlifting, and I mean, even when I was throwing in college, like my college coach was friends with a lot of the best guys because he was an alternate javelin thrower in one of the Olympics, and like, I knew these guys were messing around with shit. Like, it was not even a big thing. And I'm like, well, whatever, I don't want to do it. And then I got into powerlifting and I was like, you know what? I don't care. Like, I did drug tested competitions and I smashed the records. And I'm like, okay, well, there's no competition. Like, I'm going to start doing non-tested meets.
Right.
I don't care if they're doing it or not. I'm still going to beat them. Like that was my attitude. And eventually we found out I had low testosterone.
When did you figure that out?
That was I was like in my early 30s.
Yeah.
And I totaled 2463 lifetime drug free.
Okay. Wow.
I had a 1,000-pound squat. I had a 700 bench press and 7-something deadlift. And we found out I had low testosterone because I kept getting sick. And I was like, why am I getting sick? Why am I getting sick? And then at one point I dropped like 12 pounds in a day and I went, okay, I'm against doctors, but I got to go see somebody.
Oh shit.
And my doctor was actually a Masters Highland game thrower. So he knew who I was.
Perfect.
And, I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Like he tests me for all this stuff. And he's like, you have low testosterone. And I go, you know who I am. How is this? He goes, I don't know how it's possible.
That's such a weird thing because when I first started getting interest in like getting blood work done to check on that, I remember my brother had prior to me with, 5 years ahead of me, had doctors that would just look at him and be like, you don't have low test.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
I have all these symptoms.
Yeah.
And same deal. Like they think because you're lifting or what your strength is.
How could you be that strong if you don't have it? Well, it doesn't matter how. It's possible. It happened.
Yeah. The other thing I really I wish we did on a proactive front now that I think it's as important as it is hormonally. Like, why aren't we doing proactive stuff? Like, why don't we take blood work at 19 and 21? That way we have a standard or
which is
call it
idea.
18, 21, 25. Mm-hmm. And then at least that way we've got a little, if you're not doing it more often.
Right.
Like your family fucking practitioner should take
be running all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And that way, at least we know what your high levels are.
Yeah.
To be able to say like,
you have a good baseline. You have a good baseline.
Right. Yeah. Because we don't know what my low is.
Yeah. Even what do they say? Oh, it's 300 to 1100.
300 to 1300.
That gap is massive.
But the reason that gap is so wide, it's back to the insurance thing because insurance doesn't have to cover anything that falls in the normal range. And 90% of people would fall within that range of testosterone.
I didn't think of that. That's very true though.
And if most people fall within, they don't have to cover shit. Despite whether or not it's good for you is irrelevant. Right. That's not what they're there for. Yeah.
Even when I went on, it was funny because once I started taking the shots, I was like, okay, well, I'm done doing drug tested meets. Like and my doctor's like, no, you're fine. You'll still, and I go, if I'm sticking a needle in my glute,
I tell you what, I would go there with you. I never thought the TUE was worth pursuing because they have one for Highland Games. Can't do all the competitions, but a lot of the games will be cool with it.
Right.
I just never, by the time I got on gear, I was out of the sport.
Right.
And so
I was like, I'll just do tested meets. And when I was drug free, one of the things that irked me was even when I was clean, I would get irked with all the clean guys. Well, they're on steroids. I go, quit making excuses, man. Like, how do you know that? And I still remember, I think I did my first 700-pound squat. And I remember telling my teammates, I'm going to squat 1,000 drug free.
Yeah.
And my teammates are like, I don't think so. And I go, yeah, I'm going to do it. They're like, I don't even know if that's possible. And even like my family, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do 1,000. And everybody's like, because at that time, I think Ed Cohn had it at like 1,040 or something. And then Brent Mikesell came along and I'm like, who's Chad? Who's this dude who thinks he's going to do 1,000 drug free? And I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm not saying how long it's going to take. I go, but I'm going to do this. And I did that. I did that before I went on. And so it was like the whole time I'm like, well, fuck this. Like I want to break the drug-free records and make them respectable.
Sure.
So that people will quit using that as a damn excuse. So
the problem is they'll just consider that you were using and not.
Still gonna do it,
right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like lifetime drug-free dudes, whether that's like Bryce Lewis, he's a stud. He's competed in IPF for forever and put up big numbers. Does Russ still compete USAPL drug tested?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Pretty sure.
Russ Swole, are you familiar with him? He's
I know the
younger
name,
kid,
but I'm not.
competing raw, drug tested.
He was just at IPF, so I'm pretty sure.
Is a freak.
Well, that's the funny thing too, is like when I first went on, I try not to drop names of people, but one of the people that I'm very close to, like I called him up and I'm like, hey, so listen, I'm getting hormone replacement and like, so I need to get some information about this. And he's like, fuck you. And I go, what? And he's like, fuck you. And I go, what the hell is bringing this on? And he's like, you really are clean. And I go, yeah, I told you I was clean. He goes,
oh no.
Yeah, but I didn't believe you.
Just for like how little you know about it. I'm like, how does this work? Yeah, I went through the same thing.
But there's actually, I know 3 or 4 guys that were top guys that all basically did what I did. They were all total in 2,400 clean. Mm-hmm. And then they went on and we ended up doing even more than that. But like the whole concept. Well,
you ended up at like 27 and change.
Yeah, 27.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
27.33, I think was my best.
I think.
But I had a lot more in me. I just injuries and then my depression and all that other stuff.
As we talked about.
Yeah.
You know.
But I mean, still, that was, somebody looked it up and I think that total's still in like the top 10 or something like that.
It's still huge.
Which is, yeah, that's huge. That's still huge.
It's still a huge total. And the geared powerlifting was such an interesting time in the sport.
It was, well, like I said, it was like top fuel to me.
Because no one gave a shit about lighter weight classes.
No.
Super heavy or not, man.
I still kind of feel bad for like some of the lighter weight guys, you know?
They're really impressive.
Because I'm like,
dudes.
dude, you bench 400 pounds at like, I don't know, 150 or something. I go, that's crazy. But if you went to the first day of the WPO, like there was nobody there.
No,
you go to the super heavyweight day and it's just packed.
Yeah, and it was such a different thing too. Like at that time to see these characters, you know, Scott Mendelson and you and fucking and Gary when Gary's doing it and big guy over in England who's
Andy.
Yeah, like
Andy
this whole group, right?
He was doing some crazy
monsters.
Yeah.
And like so fun and so aggressive to watch.
It was such a good time because we actually all got along really good. Which is another thing about roid rage. I'm like, dude, if there's roid rage, I've been in a room with 20 of the strongest, biggest dudes on the planet, and we all laugh and joke.
No,
like nobody's getting pissed off at anybody.
No, it's never what I've seen either.
Yeah, I'm like, we all calm down more. Take us off, and then you'd have some issues.
I think if you're a fucking insecure dipshit, I think you're gonna have problems.
That's what I said. I go, if you take an asshole and you put him on steroids and he starts training, now you have a stronger asshole.
Yeah.
Like nothing changed. He's just stronger than he was.
Now, the only thing I've ever noticed with a shift from being on gear, I can notice myself a hair shorter tempered. I'm still in control of it.
Yeah.
But like I can notice I'll get annoyed easier.
So I'm actually calmer.
Okay. I'll get slightly annoyed easier. I also definitely know I'm on gear because I want to fuck more.
Yeah, the sex drive definitely.
Yeah, sex drive goes way up.
They had when I first went on HRT, I actually went and found my general practitioner did not really know what he was doing. So I went on and like within 6 weeks, I'm like, dude, like I'm crying at commercials. I go, something is not right here.
The estrogen's up too.
So I went in and I'm like, here, test me for all this stuff. And my estrogen was through the roof. And I go, that's it. And I went and actually found a knowledgeable guy, HRT guy in Reno.
Yeah.
And so he got me squared away. And after we were doing that for a while, like I would just go off. And I would go in and he's like, why is your level down? I'm like, well, I went off. And he's like, well, why'd you go off? I go, honestly, I don't know. I just thought I should go off for a little while. And he's like, well, how did you feel? And I go, honestly, my like road rage is getting crazy and I'm getting angry a lot. And like, he's like, well, then don't go off. He's like, Chad, you have low testosterone.
Right.
Like, you need to take this.
Yeah.
But it was funny how when I would go off, that's when I was agitated and angry. And then I'd go on and it was like, whew, I feel pretty good.
Yeah. You know, cool. It is interesting for sure. Cause I notice with that shift, right? That like going on and like I knew whenever I started doing HRT and that was one of the conversations because like my low test when I got tested at 30 was bad. It was like 80, 85.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get on until after I got out of the Highland Games. So whatever 2016 was, the end of that year. And then I went on it as much as I could to try to fucking save this knee and save this leg. And here we are. But like, I definitely remember when I got on and started talking about it being HRT and people were like, well, you know, how are you going to cycle on or cycle off or what about this? And I'm like, yo, I'm on test forever.
Yeah.
That's how this works. Like I'll take a shot every week forever.
Yeah.
Because I have low testosterone. It's not coming back, everyone. This wasn't something I damaged.
Yeah.
It ain't coming back. We're just here.
I do wonder that, though. I still wonder, like, was I always low? And that's where it would have been great if some doctor, when I was 19, would have said, hey, let's run this full panel.
Or if my parents had any wherewithal.
Yeah.
And like, I don't even want to blame doctors at this point,
Right.
but like if my parents would have been a little bit more switched on, like say we are, and have this much more information, that of course now if I had kids,
right,
I'd be getting blood work done at least once a year.
Because I still have we were talking about the past. I still have, because I think you have to remember history so you don't repeat it.
Sure.
So I like to look back and I go, well, was my test fine? And then like I pushed myself so far that my body couldn't keep up with the testosterone.
So are you saying just naturally, like from jump?
Yeah, I'm saying like, was my test low my whole life and I didn't realize it? Or was it that my test was fine? I started powerlifting. I'm doing crazy drug-free numbers. Did I mess myself up? Like, did I push my body so far that my hormone levels couldn't keep up with what I was asking my body to do?
You know, it's such a hindsight question to ask, right? Because we don't.
Yeah, we have no idea.
But I mean,
and at this point, it's curious now, and I'm probably going to do this because I'm hard-headed. At some point when my body weight gets down and I start feeling good, I'm really like, well, I'm going to go off the test and see what my level is.
Why would you do that?
Just because I'm stupid. Because I'm stupid. Because I want to
go
know.
Back up.
Wow. How do I know that though?
Well, because it won't. Because it never has. No one's ever has just like naturally
going
corrected.
Back to normal.
Don't do that. No. If you're happy and things are better using this to balance some hormones out, don't fucking change that.
It's definitely
yeah,
better.
Man.
Yeah,
no, don't do that.
Better.
It's a fucking terrible experiment. Just call me. I'll tell you it's fine. But I mean, look,
see, this is why I surround myself with people.
Of course. Yeah. But like, if we're looking back at your history though, like, I mean, you started lifting and we're pretty able to get strong naturally. Yeah. Right? Like had some natural gifts there, and then we're able to compete in a sport in college. Right? So I wouldn't say testosterone is low.
No, logically, that's a logical.
Yeah. I don't know that it's higher than normal, but I also don't know what estrogen levels look like as well. They may be fucking right up there with it. It may be both. Because I imagine you carried fat and you weren't a lean kid like
no. Yeah,
same kind of boat, lean, right? Yeah. Like I got strong really easy.
I wouldn't say I got strong easy, but
I enjoyed that work.
Yeah,
I guess I could say that part, like me gaining weight and getting stronger, like that never felt as hard as me trying to lose weight.
They're actually both pretty easy for me.
Fuck, man, losing weight's a real pain in my ass. Well, and it is now. Now that I'm down 60 pounds and I'm interested in losing another 20 or so. Yeah.
Yeah, but think about when you were putting on weight. If you were 350 and you're like, I want to get to 370, that next 20 was like stupid.
I never had that. The biggest I ever got was like 318. And so I never.
But see, now we're talking about the world, and I get this all the time. Like the world that I live in, like right now, I'm down to 2. Before I left on the trip, I think I was 288.
Sure.
And to me, I'm like, God, I look in the mirror and go, oh my God, like I got a neck now. Like
so
I can
skinny.
see my waist. I'm like,
around.
I'm this little bitty dude. And people are like, holy shit, you're huge. And I'm like, no, you have no idea. Like I was 100+ pounds bigger than this.
Now, what an interesting thing with that, right? Like, now you saying you still run into identity issues with it of like how you feel about this body versus that one.
But we're not talking that long. Basically, I got to 397 was a top.
397,
and that was I weighed in at the APF seniors in Detroit.
Okay.
And I still talking about the past. I still go, God damn it, Chad! You should have drank a gallon of milk.
Could have got that 400.
Should have hit 400. And but I felt like shit.
Yeah, no shit.
I felt horrible.
Most 400-pound people do.
So I'm like, okay, this is like, and my strength had kind of leveled off. So I'm like, okay, this is not good. So I dropped back down, and around 385 was like my strongest. And I didn't feel bad at 385, but then again, I adapted to it. And now that I'm dropping, I go, yeah, I thought I felt okay, but compared to like, I don't. So
well, you don't have a frame of reference.
Yeah, no, you lose
to a lot of stuff.
You lose the frame of reference because like one of the great skills of a human being is adaptation, but one of the worst things for a human being is adaptation.
We also have a really short memory.
Yeah. I mean, you look at a person living in a POW, they actually get used to it. And we've had soldiers that have been in POW camps for years and years. and they manage to like, it becomes normal. People in prison, it becomes normal.
Yeah. You institutionalize.
Women get pregnant, scream, hate it. It's horrible. I'm never getting pregnant again. 6 months later, they're like, hey, let's have another kid.
Oxytocin's an incredible thing. Oxytocin, once you hold that baby and you forget about all the fucking hard times and it's nothing but sweet snuggles, like, yeah, man,
like,
that love
that
drug
wasn't so
kicks
bad.
in.
That was easy.
But
I think we fall into that trap of, and I use this a lot with my clients. When I get a new client, I'll do like an interview process, which is pretty informal. But I'm like, so how do you feel? You know, do you think you're overtraining? Do you think you're undertraining? What's your training like? And they're always like, oh no, I feel great. I'm doing great. Like, and then 6 months into my,
you want my help
6 months into, 6 months into my training, they're like, holy shit, Chad, I'm stronger than I was. And I actually feel good. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't even realize that you were beat to shit because you were doing it every day for so many years. So when I finally decided, okay, I need to like get my shit together and fix my depression, suicide, all that crap, I dropped down to 330. And I was like, okay, 330 is cool. You know, I'm still fairly strong. I'm happy. This is okay. But I didn't really realize till I dropped again. And within the last 3 months, I've dropped another like 30 or 40 pounds.
Okay.
And so like getting this low is actually still kind of new to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's definitely like, I look in the mirror and like, it's conflicting. You spent so long getting so big and so strong, and you have so much effort and time into it that I look in the mirror and I still kind of see like, fuck, like did all that hard work, man.
Yeah, but
but then at the same time, I'm going, yeah, but you feel good, Chad, and you love riding your mountain bikes and your BMX bikes, and now you can ride easier and further and faster and have more fun on it. So it's like it's this conflicting thing where I know what my goal is, and I'm going to obtain this goal, and I'm going to keep moving in the direction I am. But at the same point, there's still this.
So then that's like perspective on it, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally.
And that perspective shift. For me, like I've ran into it too, because like there's definitely a body weight, especially when I did all the running, that I got to that I'm like, oh, I feel different,
right?
Like I look different in the mirror. Like I'm not a big tall guy anyway, and so especially from Highland Games, like part of I wouldn't want to say insecurity as much as honesty.
Yeah,
I know what big guys look like.
Yeah,
me at 6 foot 240, or 230 like I am now, I don't consider a big guy.
Yeah.
I consider that's what normal sized people look like. I blend in, which I understand is wrong, but isn't in my
our
world.
Perspective.
But it isn't in my fucking world.
Being around, like, yeah, when I would go hang out with the pro strongman, and I'm looking up at everybody like, holy, what the hell did you guys come from?
Right.
Like, so to me, I'm tiny.
No, dude, we were just in Dubai and like, hanging out with Hepthor and then like the other pro strongman that came over for that, for WUS. And like, yeah, I'm 100 pounds lighter than any man in the room, and 3 or 4 inches shorter. Yeah. And like, I'm not that's normal. That's a normal situation that I feel in a regular basis, and so I don't think I'm big.
Right.
But it's even weirder getting smaller.
Yes.
But at the same time, like the shift for perspective on me had to really come from what I wanted to accomplish with my body, and it was. It was about, look, the ultimate goal of why we ever wanted to get into lifting was to figure out how much we could lift. That's it. We did. Like, I don't.
Oh, it truly was. For me, it was like, how far can I push? And people think it's all physical. It's not really physical. It was how far can I push my body and my mind?
The mind's the hard part.
That's the part that got me excited.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's times where it meets where I'd be like, squat 1,100 pounds, whatever. Like, when's my third attempt so I can go for a world record that nobody's ever done? Then I would get excited because it was like, how far can I push myself?
Especially in uncharted water, man.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing that you have an idea of how it should go, but you don't know.
No, not until you do it.
It's never been done. We don't know if the fucking world explodes when this happens.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah. And then I tell people this in the training too. So you broke a world record. You got to go back and set another goal that no one's ever done. There's nobody you can go, hey, how did you train to get there?
There's not a plan. There's not a path.
It's all new. It's all completely new, utter territory. And to walk into that, like the mental capacity to walk into that and be like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Man, those moments for me, and like those were the good stuff, right? Like those moments of, as a competitor, of like, it has to matter now. Mm-hmm. That's what I love.
Well, that's what I love, because everything, as many problems as I had with sleep, like one of my best nights was the night before meet.
Really?
Yeah, because it was like, good, tomorrow, all this shit that I've been through and done, I get to test it tomorrow. And I loved the fact of testing that. Like that got me excited.
See, it's a different mindset. A lot of people go the other way, and the anxiety comes from the competition and not from the training. Well, I didn't ever get anxiety due to training either.
Yeah.
But I would get anxiety around competition, but I don't know that. I feel like using anxiety is not the right word, because anxiety's got a negative connotation.
Yeah,
to
it's
it,
more like
it's
like energy. A nervous excitement.
But that's all it is anxiety. It's just energy. Yeah. And I can either figure out how to use it or don't. Yeah. And man, I loved it.
I always said, I go, if I go to a competition and I don't have butterflies and I'm done. Yeah, I'll quit. And,
I had a couple.
And yeah, that was the fun of it, and doing stuff that other people didn't know. And like my first WPO meet, I opened my squat with 1,100 pounds.
Fuck.
Nobody had ever opened with 1,100 pounds. and people somehow didn't know who I was, like, at that point. So like they put up the flight list, and everybody's like, who the fuck is Chad Aichs? Like, who the hell is this guy? Like, who thinks he can open at 1,100? And the funny part is on my opener, I got loose and missed it.
Oh shit.
And everybody's like talking.
How bad of did you dump it, or you just started falling back?
No, I got down and kind of got loose, and then went to drive up, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so they helped me get it back up. And so my training partner's like, everybody thinks you're a joke, and and they're saying this. And I go, I got loose, Ethan. Who cares? Yeah. No big deal.
Have 2 more lifts.
So, yeah. So I get on the second one.
I either do the job or I don't.
I smash the second one, like smash it. So much so that like one of my favorite lifters of all time was Chuck Vogelpohl.
Yeah.
Like I love watching Chuck. Well, I'm sitting right next to Chuck. I get done with that attempt, and I sit down and I look over, and Chuck looks over at me and goes, that was fast. And I'm like,
fuck yeah.
I turn to Ethan and I go, Chuck said that was fast. I go, Chuck said that was fast, dude. That's badass.
Hell yeah, man.
But it was like that excitement of nobody knows who you are. Nobody's ever done this.
No.
Like that kind of shit got me pumped up, man. I love doing that shit.
And not only that, like for me, and the, now I realize was such a benefit for me with, dealing with ADD and those type of things, was having these things that created this complete hyper-focused moment.
Yeah.
Did really well for me.
Yes.
And so whether that was training, or whether it was, going to actually compete, or focusing on gear and setup and all of these things helped me a ton.
Yeah.
Just be able to pick a thing I gave a fuck about, instead of trying to focus energy on things I just don't give a shit about.
Right. Well, that's the fun thing too, is having that hyper focus. And I've never been diagnosed with ADD, but I could see where
it's likely.
There was at one point where I started thinking about all my hobbies, and I'm like, wait a minute. I love archery. I love to shoot guns, rifles. I love like top end, like 200 miles an hour in a motorcycle. And it's like everything.
You're way too big to go that fast. What are you doing?
Everything I like is like this super hyper focused craziness.
Yeah.
And it kind of got me thinking. What
bike are you riding?
Oh, I was riding a Hayabusa.
Had a big Busa. Okay.
Yeah.
I had a Yamaha R1 for a stretch. They're plenty fast.
They're all awesome.
Yeah,
they're all unbelievable.
They're so much fun, dude. Dude, I have a chance coming up. I got to go do this really rad thing with Indian earlier this year. Mm-hmm. We did a 3-day trip, and we rode from Orange County up the West Coast, and then rode back to PCH. And like Indian,
I love PCH.
Gave us motorcycles, and we filmed the whole thing, and got to do it.
That's a dream, right there.
Dude. Unbelievable.
You're gonna give me a new bike to ride.
Got like one of the big bagger Chieftains, which isn't my style of bike.
Right.
Holy shit, though, dude! What an incredible machine that bike is. It's fast.
Well, they revented them. Yeah, they revented them like a year or two ago, and I've heard great things about the motor and everything.
Dude, they're super fast. And we were on the Challengers, so the big bagger, big fairing and like comfortable.
Yeah,
it's great. And so now it looks like Indian may want to do more of that with us. And so, I mean,
I'm in, dude.
Dude, it'd be so fun. It'd be so
that would be awesome.
But yeah, man, the motorcycle thing's special. There is a certain amount of focus, and there's a certain amount of flow state too that comes from being on them.
Yeah.
And I really like that mindfulness.
Yeah.
That I get.
It's hard to describe like motorcycles, especially to people that don't get it.
Yeah.
But I have a two-wheel fascination. Like,
okay. So you like bikes?
My BMX bikes,
yep.
My mountain bikes. Like I just like being on. I like two wheels. I don't know what it is. But,
same.
And so like right now I have a Honda Fury, which is a chopper.
Okay.
And just like anybody who will let me ride them, I'm like, dude, if you go, you can't. And I'm like, I'm on it already with the key in my hand. Like I'm like, I love motorcycles. I've always loved motorcycles.
Dude, they're so fun. They're so much fun.
And it's hard to describe the feeling that you have because it's
flying.
Like, it's kind of like it clears my head, but I'm not really thinking about. It's like hard to describe
because my body's busy. Mm-hmm. Everything has a job. My hand has a job. My feet have jobs. I'm leaning. There's a lot going on, but it's not so much. It's not super focused.
Right.
Like a lot of it's intuitive. It's like you're not thinking about driving a car when you're driving a car.
No.
And driving a bike gets the same way.
Yeah.
There's just more going on.
Right.
And you feel the road and you really feel the machine and you feel part of it and you feel like you're working with it and you get to weave and move and lean and counter and like all of that adds to just such a different sensation of travel.
Right.
That vehicles don't have. Like even driving in a car, you're a passenger. Mm-hmm. Not the way it is on.
And I actually love driving.
I do too. I love it.
But a motorcycle's a whole different story.
Yeah. It's
and
different.
then like when you add in, like when I had my Hayabusa, like, I mean, you start hitting 180, 190 and like your focus, like I tell people, I go, I could see pebbles in the highway at 190 miles an hour. Like everything's whizzing here, but like your brain is so focused and it's like going so fast.
190 on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I'm sure full leathers, full everything.
Yeah. I'm sure.
I imagine you all 400 pounds in full leather cruising down the street.
Well, the funny thing is I had the bike before I started powerlifting.
Yeah.
And so I kept it. I think by the time I hit 350 or 360, I'm like, dude, I can't hardly ride this. Like my wrist actually hurt. And then my top end kept slowing down. And I'm like, this sucks. And I ended up selling it to my brother, and then his wife was like drag racing it at the time. And I'm like, that's one of my things in the future is I would like to have another Hayabusa, possibly with a turbo on it.
To drag, or just ride?
I mean, I'd like to go to Bonneville.
Yeah,
I would love to hit 250 on two wheels. I don't know why that number, but
I'm really excited to get my El Camino up and where I want it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of one of the next big vision board projects is getting that car what I want. So trying to be smart and patient with it as the plan.
It's hard because you can soak so much money and time into those things.
I'm aware it's a pit.
And it's where
none of this is resale.
And then it's where do you want it to be? That's the hard part.
Happiness investment.
Yeah.
Like I love driving my El Camino anyway. It runs and drives and it's great. Mm-hmm. What I really want is to swap it and do an LS swap and do a 6-speed. And then I want to do a transfer case to put all-wheel drive. Not full-wheel drive, but all-wheel drive.
Right.
And all-wheel drive, like mid 600 horsepower El Camino would be a lot of fun.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Be a fun car.
Yeah. I do have a need for, I have that need for speed. I love going fast.
Yeah. So as you're starting to now lose weight and get back down, are things changing? Like not hormonally, because you've sorted that out, but like depression wise, has that been there the whole way? Is this something you've always? I've
pretty much fought with it my whole life, but it kind of, again, looking back now, the way I was training and how hard I was pushing myself, I think exacerbated all the problems and made it worse.
Well, that and lack of sleep.
And the lack of sleep. And the sleep got worse too as I was going. And it's like, dude, I can't miss training. Like I got just competition coming up.
It is what it is. And I mean, so do you overcompensate with stimulants trying to get up for training? Or?
No, because they don't work.
Okay.
Like I have a weird tolerance for all drugs. I mean, I've had three surgeries in my life. It was 3. And they have a hard time knocking me out.
Oh, no shit.
Like one time the anesthesiologist was like, basically like, dude, this is the last shot I have. If this don't knock you out, we got to reschedule this. Because I can't.
I don't know that I've ever survived one of those in surgery. When I go in, man, and they're like, we'd like you to count down. Brr.
Yeah, no, I'm like, yeah, nothing. They're like, you feel nothing? And I go, yeah, I feel nothing. I'm fine. They're like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, no, I feel fine.
Fuck.
And so like stimulants and stuff.
So no real drug history.
Adderall, I like.
Yeah.
So I don't take it.
What's meth?
Because I'm like, this stuff is,
meth.
this is pharmaceutical meth. So it's probably not good for me. And I like it a lot. So I should probably try to control this. Because I've been diagnosed with narcolepsy too. So they're like, hey, let's try to give you drugs to knock you out, which didn't work. Like the only sleep medication I've had that ever worked was massive doses of Seroquel, which is seriously hard on you too. So, and even then it didn't really make me sleep good. It just kind of knocked me out. And so then they're like, okay, well, we'll give you this to make you feel better during the day. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like,
we're chasing.
Shouldn't we be fixing the problem instead of just covering up with more stuff?
No.
And so, I mean, it was just like we talked about earlier. It's like, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, I have this goal. I'm going to meet this goal. This is what I got to deal with. So let's just deal with it.
Now,
but as I am losing weight, I'm finding more and more and when I was back at Elite talking to Dave, it was like, I kind of fooled myself where I'm like, dude, I'm the healthiest 330 pound guy, you know. Okay, Chad, well, just because you're the healthiest 330 pound guy doesn't mean you're healthy. Like that's still hard in your heart.
Yeah. I remember when I was training down there with Gary, Gary was getting out of it. He was at that time in his career too, that like he didn't need to do it anymore. But what ended up happening is, I'm sure you'll take reference to, Gary would lose a bunch of weight. He would essentially get off gear, clean up, lose like 60 pounds, come in the gym and like feeling good, moving around. Next thing you know, he's benching with us and then he's putting a shirt on, but none of his fucking shirts fit because he's lost 60 pounds. Yeah. So now he's adding weight back and his shirt fits. And now he's chasing some Masters world record until he's hurt. And then he loses weight again. And we repeat this cycle forever.
My story's a little similar. About 3 years ago, I went, okay, that's it. And I actually got down to 283. And then I started a relationship and some things happened in the relationship. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I kind of leaned back into powerlifting because for me, inside the gym is a world that completely and utterly makes sense.
Yep.
Like everything, I understand everything in there. And even when I make a mistake, I know that like what my mistake's going to cause and what's going to, like, I understand everything.
You understand that universe entirely.
Yeah. And in the real world, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense.
No, there's emotions.
Yeah. The emotions and then other people's emotions. Like I can deal with my messed up emotions because I know what's going on, but so as the relationship was struggling and I couldn't figure out how to correct and get back on path, I leaned more into power. And before I know it, I'm 330 again. And
back
I'm going
into what you can control.
I'm looking up Masters records going, give me 2 months, man. I got that. And so it was when the relationship ended and I started looking at myself and I was going over like, well, what happened in the relationship? How much of this, what did I do wrong? What can I fix? How can I be better? I kind of started realizing all this stuff. And then as I'm dropping weight this time, I'm like, this is like, that's where it's tough because I think about all the energy I put into getting that strong and that big. And at the same time, I'm going, yeah, but Chad, you're feeling better.
Yeah, but interesting, like right? None of the numbers are going away. It's just the older you in the mirror that still looks like that guy is the only thing changing.
Everything I did is still there.
None of that's not existence, right? Like you can still talk about it. You don't own it less because you've now gotten healthy.
Yeah. The only thing literally is how I look.
Dude, it's such a weird...
But you're feeling better, so why are you even focusing on that?
There is that weird part, man, and there's that weird part that it's like, the lifers.
Yeah.
Right? And like whether that's Chuck or Dave or Jim or the guys we know that have been in it for 20 years. And there is something about getting healthy that almost feels like you've left the life. And like they look at you in a way of like...
It almost does, yeah.
In it forever, are you?
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, man. I had to change.
But that's the same thing, too. What did I see one of the T-shirts the other day? Oh, die huge.
Die huge.
And I'm like...
You will.
Okay, I get the whole... Like, I get this whole macho meathead side of it. I get it. Like when I trained in high school, like I trained I started training in my basement, and how I knew my squat session was done, when I physically could not get up the stairs, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like that's the end of the session.
And maybe the mistake here is this. Maybe those shirts that say die huge, maybe we're not the target demographic at this point, right?
We're definitely not.
Maybe I'm not the target demographic anymore. I've been through the fire, and I'm like, it's nice, man. My back kind of not hurting.
Yeah, and feeling good and going, hey, I have all these other hobbies that I put to the side for powerlifting. Now I can do them, and I'm fortunate to be 50 years old, and like all of my injuries were like muscle tears in the bellies. So like my joints are actually
you're
good.
okay.
Like I can do pretty much whatever I want. I can still go ride my BMX bike and jump off curbs and shit.
See, which is something I find so exciting about what the possibility going forward is after my competing years now. Is like, what else can the machine do?
Yeah.
And like, not only that, like another perspective that really helped me with my body, and it was coming out of sport and dealing with injury and like not accomplishing what I wanted to, and a couple of things left on the table, was despite those things, despite those obvious negatives, everything going well for me and the relationships I have, the friends I have, the who I am, has all been based off of this opportunity my body gave me to work with. Right. Because it was healthy. It was able to get stronger. It could handle these loads. It could learn technique. It did all these things. It doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change that it did.
Right.
And me getting to do all that at any point is what got me here.
Right.
And so honoring this machine with, okay, now what can we do else?
Yeah.
Instead of always making it show the one thing that it did well.
Right.
Like we still did that. What else can we now add to these different chapters instead of like, well, I need to make sure I stay big so people know that I was strong.
Yeah.
Like fuck gives a shit what they think.
Yeah.
You know, this is
and if they're worth a crap, they're going to go, well, Chad did this and he was smart enough to go, hey, that time's done. Here's what I'm moving on to.
Well, and you show other people that I got big for a fucking reason.
Yeah.
I wasn't big because I was sloppy. I got big to accomplish a goal. And if my new goal is this way, we plow ahead that way.
And that's kind of where I try to look at it. And it's funny to look back in your past and go, well, wait a minute, what allowed me to achieve those things in powerlifting? And what do I want to achieve now? So it's like, hey, if I want to start selling these t-shirts and grow this apparel company, I'm now going to have more energy because I'm not 350 pounds.
Right.
And I don't have to be in the gym this many hours, and I don't have to do this. So I can actually go after this goal. Or, now I look back and go, man, when I was like, even when I came out of college at like 270, like people would be like, hey, you want to go skiing today? I'm like, all right, let's go skiing. And like everybody's done halfway through the day. And I'm still like, dude, they're going to turn the lights on tonight. Like we're not leaving. I paid my money. I'm staying here and skiing as long until they kick me the hell out of here.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to go learn to snowboard this winter.
And I like skiing. You know why I like skiing better than snowboarding? Because, the last time I tried snowboarding, I was still big.
Yeah.
And like every time I'd fall down, like I'd be like, okay, let me keep myself up, and I'd sink into the snow. And then I'd be crawling on the front, and I'm like, God damn it, I can't even get up. I'm like on skis, at least I got to click out of them and stand up.
Yeah, I think both my legs staying in one direction
is probably a better thing.
At this point.
Yeah. But I mean, so I'm trying to change my goals and go, well, wait a minute. Do you remember what it felt like to have that kind of energy and to be able to just go do stuff and feel good all the time and not feel exhausted? And, and as I keep losing weight, I am trying to be very aware of how I am mentally and how I feel, so that I realize what I thought was normal is not really normal. Like I should feel way better than that. And I'm trying to be very cognitive of thinking about how I feel as that goal of like, hey, because my original goal was 270. And I already feel so much better that I'm like, well, wait a minute. If I get to 270 and I drop to 250, that's another 20 pounds. Am I going to feel that much better at that point?
I mean, there's a law of diminishing returns somewhere, right?
Well, yeah,
because
yeah.
I bet by 100 pounds, you don't feel great.
Yeah, I was like, feel awesome. But that's where I said it like, let's hit 270 first, but let's not close the door on like, that's where I want to stay. And, it's weird to actually go, hey, I kind of have abs now. Like, holy crap.
Dude,
I've actually got a little bit of vascularity, and like I've never had vascularity.
No, it's the same. It's that early bite of leanness kicking in, right? It's that first window into it. It's an ugly drug. I remember being like my big competing weight was probably like 290, 285-ish.
Right.
And I remember at that weight, like I could tell myself, I'm like, we ever cut down to like 250, we'll be lean. Yeah. We weren't. We weren't. We were still fat.
That's what I'm trying. Well, that's what fuck. We were talking earlier where I'm so goal oriented that I see the number. And I'm like, dude, I could get to 270.
I love, dude, I did it too. Like
and then I'm like, no, that's dumb. You're going to lose. You're going to like, stop. And I actually went and got my body fat checked the other day. So I'm like, okay, here's another metric.
Dude,
like if I lose 20 pounds and my body weight doesn't change, that's fucked.
Yeah. I love that you're the same way I am with it. Because I like whenever I was dropping weight, like one of the big goals was like, man, I got to see under 230. That was the most recent kind of one that I had. And I remember like I, had one morning, I'd felt lean and got on the scale and I was like 233. And I'm like, I can get down. Like it doesn't accomplish.
I can do this in 5 hours.
That's all I did. I fucking spit in the shower and fucking sat in the sauna. And I'm like, did it. Sub 230. I'm like, fucking, what did that really accomplish? Right. Just such a fucking crazy person with it. So fucking strange to me that I'll do that. But like, see, and again, as things are continuing to go with you on this way down, like is mental health staying in check or is it?
I think it's improving.
Good. And now you're still running gear.
Which is yeah. I mean, I'll stay on. Like,
I
said,
just call it gear.
Basically,
because I don't care.
I'm weird. Like I'll admit, I'm full on weird.
Okay.
I actually had a conversation with my doctor. And I'm like, so you're giving me steroids?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, I'm giving you testosterone. I go, which is these steroids? And I literally argued with him for 15 minutes till he goes, yes, I'm giving you steroids. Okay.
Right.
And I go, thank you.
What I call everything drugs.
Yeah.
And
well, they really are. I mean, what's like,
I know. Cool. Well, because people feel weird about HRT because they don't want to consider that cheating or drugs or whatever. Fuck you. It's drugs.
Yeah.
Guess what else is drugs? Advil. Guess what else is drugs? Coffee. Weed. These are all drugs. People even try to classify all the psychedelics as plant medicine, which I get and I do respect, and I do find them very valuable.
But
I also
really
think
a drug, though.
Yes, I am, and even then, I'm taking a thing to alter what's naturally there.
Yeah.
Period. I take coffee for the same fucking reason. Right. And so.
It's a stimulant. That's why people drink coffee. It makes them feel good. Gives them energy.
Yeah. I mean, at some point I consume protein for the same reason, right? Yeah. So that it'll alter what's naturally going on. But I'm into changing all of it, make all of it better. I want performance enhancers across the board.
Yeah.
If it's going to make me feel better, do better, kick more ass, like why wouldn't I want to take it?
Yeah.
And so back to drugs.
There's a thing in sports. I actually had this conversation the other day. I go, you know what? We need to stop this whole drug testing shit, and we need to do health tests. Ooh. You have to pass a physical. If your test is low, we're going to get you here. If you up your test, but your blood pressure is cool, good. Your alignments, so we're going to give you a little leeway in your blood pressure because you're going to be 350 pounds. But if you can't meet these health standards, you don't play.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then who cares what you take? Like, get the healthiest you can get. We don't give a shit what you take. Be the healthiest you can be.
But also, whose responsibility is it for the athlete to be healthy? I find. To me, that's on the athlete. It ain't got shit to do with the organization or the federation or the sport.
But I mean, if you're going to test and you're going to say, well, people are getting sick from it or dying from it, or we want it all to be fair. Well, if you want it all to be fair, then health check everyone within these certain parameters.
Fair.
Do whatever you need to do to be in that parameter.
There's no such thing. Fair.
Life's not fair. What's fair? And there's nothing fair in life.
No, look, there's some privileged roles that other people get that are opportunity, right? And I think it's weird when you game a system and you get those, but I didn't get to pick mine.
Yeah, nobody does though.
Some people are born with great ones. Yeah, but I'm not, so I don't have to worry about them. It'll never show up, and none of theirs will ever be taken away from me complaining.
I've had people at my jobs and stuff. They're like, "Oh man," I'm like, "Were you sick, dude? You weren't here yesterday." "Oh, I just didn't sleep good, so I called in sick."
Sleep good.
I'm like, sleep good. You got 4 hours of sleep, right? Yeah. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, fuck you then.
Yeah. What do you mean tired?
Yeah.
Cute.
You don't even know. But that's just what it is. And that's why I talk about fight for your greatness. I think everybody has some sort of, everybody has disadvantages and advantages. It's up to you to figure out what your advantages are. What is your greatness? And for you to fight for it and make it and bring it out and use what you got. Like some people have musical talent. Some people are really good in school. Some people are really good at sports. It's just a matter of finding what you enjoy, what you're good at, and how hard are you going to push it?
Yeah. And how much are you willing to work for it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it's always, I just wish that we could sell people and have them buy into the idea that it takes 10 years.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
If you'd like to be good at a thing, it takes a decade.
Well, that's interesting, especially from a coaching standpoint. Like when people go, oh my God, it must be so great to be as strong as you are or to break that record. And I'm like, well, you probably have the same genetic advantage that I do.
Right.
It's not that I had some great advantage. It's that I was willing to dedicate 15 years, 24/7 to that sport to do that.
Yep.
Like if you want to dedicate it, you can do it. I mean, don't say you can't do it or that only I did it. You just didn't want to do it.
Right.
And the same thing with weight loss. I love, especially as I'm going, I try to keep updates on my Instagram and stuff. And so people are asking me all these questions now. It's like, dude, it's not that hard. It really is simple math. How did you get big?
Still math.
Yeah. How did you get big? You ate more calories than you burned.
Yeah. How about those people?
How do you think
gain weight?
How do you think? Get
out of the room.
I really hate. I can't gain weight.
There's no one less respected than the guy who's like, I can't seem to eat enough. Weight. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Especially after
how dare you?
Do you know how many calories it takes to maintain 385 pounds?
A lot.
Like it was stupid. I hate it. I would be at work eating, and first of all, my head kept getting bigger. So these muscles are huge,
gigantic.
So I have my hat on, and I'm eating, and my hat just goes tink, 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 tink every time my jaw closes. And like the guys at work, I'm like, "What the hell are you looking at, man?" They're like, "You don't want to swallow that last bite, do you?" They're like, "You've been chewing it for 4 minutes."
Oh no!
And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, eating sucks. I hate this. I have to eat so much. It's horrible,
man."
But it's all about dedication, and like you said, people are like, "Oh, you're 100 pounds overweight. How long did it take you to put that 100 pounds on? And now you think you can get it off in a month?" Right. Like, be realistic, dude, man.
And what people don't realize how they fuck that up, man. 100 pounds, like from say 20 to 30, people put on 100 pounds body weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. In that 10 years, right? Like out of high school, getting into college, start a real job, maybe working at a desk. You're no longer playing sports. Like your activity level has plummeted since you were 18. You put on less than 1 pound a month for a decade. I get it. Yeah. I can see how that fucking happens. Accidentally be over 3,500 calories a month. I can see how you could accidentally do that. I get how you get there. And it ain't coming off easy.
Yeah.
It's not how it works. Yeah. Like it doesn't work that way for anyone, and it doesn't stay gone. It's the grind.
It is the grind.
And that's the big lesson that has come from lifting that's transferred to the apparel business, podcast, any of it. And I mean, Brant knows, but like I go into everything the same way I approach lifting. It's like, action first and then correct based on what we learn from it. Start
get going, get started, and then continue to educate yourself all the way through the process.
Yep.
I tell people I did my first meet. I didn't do my first powerlifting competition until I did a bench only meet when I was 28. And it was on like 2 weeks notice, and I benched like 405 or 415 raw. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And like the funny thing is like one of my friends,
you found it. You
Cyril
immediately
Lewis.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, like I haven't competed since college. This is awesome. And my friend Cyril Lewis did the meet. He benched like 550 and won. And I'm like, I remember telling my mom, because my mom went to the competition. I'm like, look at that, dude. I want to be like that. That guy's huge. And so I did my first 3-lift meet, like, I think it was a year later, but it was after a move. So I didn't even get to train that much. And I totaled 1,700.
Okay.
And then people are like, dude, you totaled 27. I go, yeah, but what you don't realize is that took me 10 years. Like I averaged almost 100 pounds a year, which is actually really impressive.
That's a lot.
And I go, and that's 10 years. Like you people act like I just was strong and I just did this. Like it's not. It took forever. And you can't, there's nobody. Go look at all the top guys and research their history.
You're not even counting. You're not counting all the repetition you did throwing.
Yeah.
And we're still squatting.
And I lifted the whole time. Right. I mean, I was always lifting.
So you had 10 years of lifting before you started that 10 years of trying to get strong.
Yeah.
Right. So
and people are just like, oh, well, you're just like, they want to make some excuse to
overnight.
Yeah.
yeah. As people say, like, no fucking way.
And it's like, and even if you look at business, like there are guys that get a niche idea or something, but like most guys, it is the grind. Like they didn't start on top.
No.
Like they started small and they built up. I mean, with small businesses, I think it's the third or fourth business most small business guys have to go through before they find the one that works.
Yeah. This is number 3.
Yeah. And I think it's the third. I think it's the third or fourth one is the one that's finally the one that they start doing well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like, oh, you'd like to work for you. We'll start making businesses that'll fail for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the plan. So pick a few that you're not going to love. Just get those out of there, burn them up. And then pick one you're really into. Save the good one for the fourth business.
And it's like such an instant gratification world right now.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts. Even like I got a pretty good group of clients right now, but I mean, there's some of them where you got to go, listen, you're actually doing good.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
You know, like, well, I want to get better every session. It's like, well, you don't get, there's going to be highs and lows. Like
Windler said that for years. And like, it's always been like, well, what if we just add 10 pounds to your total forever?
Yeah.
They're like, whoa, that'd be great. I'm like, cool. Except for now you're emailing me saying we didn't add 50 pounds to your total this last 8 weeks. Why did we fail?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about I just keep you not hurt and making progress forever? Yeah. But that's well and fine. Mm-hmm. It is, but that isn't what either of us were trying to do with our careers.
No,
we're on the gas. Like
we're full on the gas.
Full on, walk straight into the fire, take as much damage as you can. Yeah. Move on. Now, fighting with like the mental health stuff on the way up, like how would it manifest through training set? Like would you have bad training sessions and it would flare up and get worse? Or would you get manic too and like get over?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love manic phases.
Yeah. Same.
They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. You get so much accomplished and you feel so good. It's just that crash is going to come eventually. And it's going to suck.
You know, it's coming.
No, there was actually, looking back and trying to understand it all, because I feel like a lot of people talk about my lifting and what I accomplished. And I'm like, well, actually, I'm more proud of the fact that the lifting gave me a little bit of a platform to talk about my depression and talk about the suicide stuff. And when I do like a podcast like this and people write me letters and stuff and going like, dude, Chad, you helped me so much just knowing there's somebody else going through this and everything you've accomplished while going through that. Like that makes me proud.
Yeah, man.
I'm more proud of that than any of the records or anything I did.
The same way I feel about the world championship with throwing, like, man, it's a cool thing that got me in a room that allows me to share some bigger picture stuff.
Right.
And I'd way rather talk about any of those than this other thing I did.
Right. So as I look back on it, a lot of the worst stuff came from times that I was totally overtraining. And just, I think kind of like Tate says, you know, we don't really know that much about the central nervous system. But I look at my depression and stuff and I go, man, there's a link between me overtraining my central nervous system and my depression getting out of hand.
Which makes sense logically to me.
Seems like it makes sense to me. So, yeah. I mean, there's times when I would go in and train and I wouldn't open my mouth because I was afraid if I opened my mouth, I'd start bawling.
Yeah. And
so my partners would be like, hey, what are we doing? And I'd be like I would just shake my head. I wouldn't open my mouth at all the whole session. Wow. And it got to be, my partners were actually really good, especially Ethan, because I could walk in the gym and Ethan would be like, you're fucked up.
Yeah.
Like he could just see it in my face. And then whenever I, like anybody on my team, part of it was like, you're here to learn. Like, I'm going to teach you what I know and you're going to give back to the team. And if you have a different perspective, that's awesome. Cause I want as many different perspectives as possible. And I do that with my clients too. It's probably a horrible business plan. Like I'm actually going to teach you what I know.
You should,
because then you can feed back to me and we can communicate better. But
have you ever had clients leave because they figured out too much? No, that's never the fucking case. They stick around because they're learning shit.
Yeah. And so we do that. And my clients or my partners at the time were pretty good about going, Chad, you're done. Like you're done. That's it. You're out of here. Go home.
Yeah, go home.
And it took me a while, but I got to the point where I'd be like, all right, fine. And I mean, there's times where I'd be so depressed that I have chronic compartment syndrome in my lower legs.
Okay.
which is one reason I never pursued strongman. Cause I'm like, I can't train the way I want to train. But like my depression would be so bad, I'd go drag the sled. And I mean, I'd just have tears. I'd be in so much pain. And my partners had like, at one point, Ethan tried to stop me. And I go, Ethan, get the fuck away from me now. Like, just leave me the fuck alone. Cause it was like putting myself through that physical pain eased up the mental pain.
Yeah, it just made more noise.
Yeah, so it was like, okay, I don't care. I'll take the mental pain because it's better. Or the physical pain because it's better than the mental pain at this point. And I mean, there's literally times where I would be at home with a gun to my head or to my lap, and my alarm would go off. And I'd be like, okay, got to train. Like that's how dedicated I was to powerlifting.
Saved by the bell.
Yeah, and then I would come home, and within 5 or 10 minutes, I'm back sitting there bawling, like just trying to figure out why I shouldn't do it.
Man. Now, I mean, like, I'm sure you're trying to chase back, like, what's it stemming from? But I mean, other than we just know it's chemical. I mean,
yeah, I'm sure it's something chemical or some wiring. I mean, I've always struggled some with depression.
Like even through high school, even.
Yeah. Like I always had some times where I was pretty down, but I grew up here in Missouri, actually.
Okay.
And very blue collar family. And it's kind of like you're a man. So you have melancholy and angry. Like those are your emotions. Options, yeah. And so like when I was younger, I fought a lot and I was pissed off a lot. And I think I look back now and I go, I think that was kind of a little bit of who my personality really is. Like I'm actually a pretty emotional person and I feel things really strong, but I didn't feel like I was able to show those. And so I think that led to the anger and in depression. Like if you're depressed and you feel like crap and you get pissed off, it actually feels pretty goddamn good.
Well, because something's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a spark. Yeah.
So I think that caused a lot of the anger and that's how I dealt with it. And then when I got into powerlifting,
because
actually when I first started lifting, I didn't make the freshman high school football team. Well, I made the team, but I wasn't a starter. So I was pissed. That pissed me off. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Like I got to get stronger. I got to get faster, like weights. So I started building a gym in my garage. Every birthday, every Christmas, like all I asked for was weightlifting shit. Like, can I get another bar? Can I get more plates? Can I get a lap machine? Can I get this?
Anything.
Like, and the first time I went down and I think I squashed myself. It was probably less than 200 pounds. And I get stuck and I had to scream for my mom to come down or I'd have to roll it off my stomach. But afterwards I'd be like, I actually feel pretty good. Like I'm calmed down.
You remember kind of finding an outlet.
I'm mellow. And so for a long time, weight training was how I dealt with not killing people in the real world. and I remember
Thank you, weight training.
Yeah.
Keeping other people alive since the beginning of time.
There's a good t-shirt right there.
I lift weights so you don't die.
I remember having a conversation with Tate one time because basically I started learning from when I started powerlifting. It's actually good that I think I was 28 when I really got into it because it changed my mentality and I was more accepting to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really hard for me to ask people for help still to this day.
But geared powerlifting also lends that you can't do it solo.
You can't train geared by yourself.
You can't train by yourself gear. I mean, especially with whether it's, maybe deadlift you could.
Yeah.
But that's it. I mean, the rest
of it is
even then,
depending on how tight your suit is, you're going to have some help.
Yeah. Because even... So it's such a technical lift that when you're out of the groove, it's not a muscle it back into place. You just fucking lose.
Yeah, no, not when you're doing double ply and stuff.
Right.
Like,
no.
Your window for error is about this big, and if you get a little bit forward, it's done.
It's crazy. I always felt that there was a difference in my sessions. The ones that I felt were training, and then the ones that I felt were practice.
Right.
And like when we were in full gear, I always felt that they were more practice.
Right.
Than they were training. Like
because it is. You're practicing the suit. You're practicing the gear.
Because it looks like a bench and a squat, but they're not. They're different lifts than whatever I grew up doing that is called a bench and a squat. And so, it was a very different thing.
Yeah.
And so you're starting to figure out a little bit early on that you can manage a little bit by training.
Yeah, I could manage my anger and my emotions and like I think all the men in my family, the Aichs men, all have anger issues. At least everyone I know of. And so when I started getting good, with my sleep and stuff, I couldn't actually train as much as most people do. And I think the vast majority of aggressive powerlifters overtrain. Mm-hmm. And as you get stronger, you actually need to kind of back off because you have the ability to push your body that much harder. Your technique is that much better. So you're lifting that much heavier weights. And we kind of got to the point, and I was having a conversation with Dave, and I always love the way Dave talked to me because he's very straightforward, and he doesn't really give you the answer right away.
No.
He makes you figure it out on your own. And we were talking, and I'm like, Dave, like, you know, this is what's happening. This is happening with all the guys on my team. And Dave's like, well, what do you think you should do? You know, and I'm like, well, I think we're overtraining, man. I mean, I hate that. Like, I think we need to spread it out and do this and that. And he's like, why aren't you doing it? And I'm like, fuck you, point taken.
Well, gotcha. If nothing else, have you tried that?
Yeah. And so eventually it was like, okay, well, I'm not recovering. The guys on my team aren't recovering. So we got to spread this out. And I remember having a conversation. I'm like, Dave, no, you don't understand. Like I have to be in the gym every day.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to like kill people. And the funny thing is Dave totally gets that.
Yep.
But I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like I got to be in the gym. And basically he's like, do you want to be a world champion or do you want to train crazy every day?
Right.
And it was like,
you need to figure out another outlet for that energy that doesn't slow the other.
Yeah. And
down.
actually I think that's another benefit to powerlifting is that I actually learned, I could have went my whole life having the gym be the way that I deal with that.
Yeah.
Instead of actually going, okay, wait a minute. No, I'm in this because I want to lift the biggest weights I possibly can. So I've got to figure out another way to deal with this. And that actually kind of sent me down a path of more introspection. Like, why am I like this? Why do I need to train like this? Like, why am I so angry?
Yeah.
And so I think powerlifting in another way that really helped me out to get me to go a different avenue to figure out some of these problems.
Did you figure out any of the roots of that? Like where it's stemming from? And
there was a lot of different things. There were some things with like I don't want to say my childhood was bad because my childhood wasn't bad.
Everyone's childhood is their childhood.
Yeah.
You don't have another frame of reference, but they're all traumatic.
There was definitely some stuff in there that I could see reflected in who I was. And I kind of had to go back and I kind of had to go, okay, Chad, here, listen. Okay, here was the situation. This is how you thought as a child. But you're an adult now. You no longer think like a child. So you need to look at this situation, analyze it, and reflect. What do you think about it now? And then you kind of go, okay. And you kind of let go of some of that stuff that was kept inside of you that you didn't even realize it was going on.
Right.
And so I think it broadened my mind a lot on a lot of different issues. Just going through that and going, well, wait a minute. Okay, lifting now has become this. Lifting is to become the best guy in the world, the strongest guy in the world, to push my body as far as I can. So I have to look at it like this. Now I have all these other problems that I got to deal with because I use this to cover it up.
Sure.
So I think that was a good thing. And I think to me, that goes back to the mental toughness.
So
like,
now
are you tough enough to be honest with yourself and go back through your history and go, wait a minute, why do I feel this way? Why do I get nervous in these situations? Why do I get angry in this situation? Like, I'm in charge of my feelings. Nobody can make me feel a damn thing.
Right.
Like, I'm responsible for all of it. Why am I deciding to
I've worked
feel
on
this
trying
way?
To talk myself into that one on a regular basis.
Sometimes
I run into walls there.
That's so tough.
Like, fuck you, I'm mad because fuck this.
Yeah. After my marriage, when my marriage ended, I was like, that messed me up. And so I started reading all this stuff in communication. Yeah. And one of the things I came across was like, nobody can make you feel anything. I'm like, bullshit. If somebody punches me in the face, it's his fault. I'm going to beat the crap out of son of a bitch. And it took me a long time to kind of get comfortable with like, well, he punched me in the face and he's wrong, but it's still my choice to either get angry, to slap him. I mean, I could just backhand bitch slap him and laugh and walk away.
Man,
it's up to me. It really is up to me how I want to feel.
One of the shifts for me that helped change a lot was just like full accountability.
Yes.
And like realizing that I am always in control or at fault.
Yes.
And especially now for a long time in my life, I'm not a fucking victim. Like no one has a thing to tell me I can or can't do. Even if it was a job I have that I don't like, I took the job. It wasn't issued. Find another one. Mm-hmm. You know, and you can make those choices. And like the example I use about that full accountability is if I were to lend you my car for the day and you got into a wreck, I would fix it because I lent you my car.
Right.
I take responsibility. Mm-hmm. If I borrowed your car and I wrecked it, I'd fix it because I borrowed your car. I'm always.
So here's the twist on that one though. Say I borrow your car, I wreck it. I want to fix it.
Oh,
because it's my responsibility.
Yeah.
Are you going to be okay with me?
100%.
Okay.
I wouldn't feel entitled to you fixing it. I think that's the right thing.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm not going to get angry with you for not fixing it.
Right.
You'll just never be allowed to use my shit again.
Yeah.
I will learn from this and go forward. It's not a fucking clean slate.
But this kind of shit's interesting to me. I have a similar situation when my grandfather basically got hosed on his pension when he ended up getting a quarter on the dollar. Oh. So after they retired, he didn't have a whole lot of money.
Sure.
But there was a point when I was in high school, we would go to breakfast on the weekends. And I remember one time I'm like, no, I'll pay. I want to pay. I'll pay, and it kind of, I think I hurt his feelings. Like I could see it in his face. And I still remember it to this day. And I think, okay, I felt like I wanted to pay because I knew they were living on fixed income and everything. And I'm like, I'm a high school kid. It doesn't mean shit. I can pay for this.
Yeah.
My parents pay for all my other shit. So what do I care? But then I always thought about that because I remember the look on his face. And it was like, Chad, the bigger thing was probably to just let him pay because for him, he was like, you're my grandson and this is something I can do for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. However, I believe with what you're saying and I get into the same spot, but I always go back to focusing on intent and your intent in that situation. And if I'm looking at my life from your grandfather's perspective, right? Your intent there was not to make me feel bad or that I didn't have money or do any of this. So what he felt was an insecurity of his. It didn't have anything to do with you. Yes. You're trying to do the right move. And not only that, being proud that I can take you to dinner now. Mm-hmm. Right. He's missing all of those big points. Right. From raising two generations now of the right type of person who wants to make the right move, who's proud to do this for his grandfather. Yeah. And instead, he's missed those because of a little bit of insecurity. Right.
Which it's funny though, because where do you always find that balance?
The insecure one's a tough one to find valuable.
I mean, even as me, is it? Are you the bigger man to let him pay and not feel it?
I don't know that there's any bigger man, right? It's not a competition.
Okay, well, what's the best answer then? I'm always looking, and that's my personality. That's like
to me. I don't know that there's a best answer. Mm-hmm. Right.
It's just understanding. Trying to understand both sides and
it's understanding all the motives and realizing that your intent. I mean, because we both know people that overreact, right? Like it's very possible someone in this situation be like, I'm not going to let you fucking pay. You think I need your charity? Yeah. Like, hold the fuck up. Yeah. That's not what I was trying to do. Right. And you know that. Yeah. And so like, can we just skip that fucking step, man? Yeah. And like, I wanted to pay. Yeah. Just say thanks. You have a friend who can afford meals as well. Right. And like, let's just be both pumped and like realize that was the intention.
And that's where I try to be now.
Of course.
I just, this was kind of a short notice trip and I'm like, well, I can call my buddy from high school because he came out and saw me a few months ago. And so I called him up and I'm like, dude, I can leave on Sunday so I can spend a couple days with you. And he took me and his wife to like this really nice steak dinner last night and stuff. And I know it was expensive. Yeah. And I'm like, you want to pay, Chad, but I mean, you flew out here and he wants to, so like, just be gracious and thankful and trying to like, what's the right way to be.
I'm at a point
and
now
is it my insecurities? If I feel bad that he paid for it, that's my insecurity. And I shouldn't be because he's done well in his life. He can afford it. It's not a problem. And he wants to do it.
Neither of us buying this dinner changes our lives.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter in the big picture.
So who gives a shit? That's where I fall. As long as I'm not in a group of people that I notice that someone is, if you're not expecting me to pay, I'm happy to pay. Right. That's kind of how it goes. Yeah. But I've also been occasionally at groups of people at a table and I realized that like, everyone knows I'm fucking paying for this. Like I've definitely seen people decide to go to
frustrating.
Dinner. Yeah. As they're like, I bet someone else is picking up this tab. I'm like, all right, motherfucker, I'll leave you. Hey, I'll be like, everyone but those straight hanging on you.
Yeah, it's just interesting though. Like, I mean, that's the kind of, I tell people my brain goes all the time.
Yeah.
Like I could be having 4 conversations in my head while we're talking.
Bonnie would be very entertained by explaining my brain to you. It's a fucking disaster. Mm-hmm. It moves really fast. And like, that's one of the reasons
the fact that it's a disaster and you function is actually kind of impressive.
There's a couple things I've had to like come to realization of that work for me. One of those is I can't focus on things I don't care about.
Yeah.
And so I just don't pretend to anymore.
Yeah.
If it's a thing I don't give a shit about, I just have to say no. I'm like, no, I'm not interested in doing it.
Yeah. That's true though. I'm like that too. That was one of my problems in school.
What ends up happening is I'm a guy that wants to like, I'm not necessarily a pleaser, but I like helping. Mm-hmm. And so I'll say yes to trying to do everything. And then what I end up doing is not having any time to do the things that I like. And so now I just only focus on the things I'm into.
So how do you deal with that? I would say I have the same problem. Like there's a lot of times, especially with,
I don't get asked for a lot of help.
Trying to grow a business or a following or something like that. I mean, I know, especially when I was doing my training logs on Elite and trying to do the Q&A and stuff, it's like you stay up all night answering questions.
Yep.
And even on Instagram, it's like, I want to help everybody. And like my training partners were pretty good at going, Chad, like, dude, you need to take care of yourself first.
Yes.
Where I'm more apt to help everyone and then go, I'll deal with whatever I got to deal with later.
Well, I think there's
which
both,
isn't the healthiest thing.
I think there is good to both. Because I think there is some benefit that you get in your own shit and your own kind of perspectives from helping other people.
Right.
Same way you become a better athlete coaching.
Yeah.
Or at least maybe understanding things better. And so, but you've got to apply it too.
Right.
Right. Like, I mean, there's a reason I'm not going to hire a big fat nutrition coach. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
I do that too. Dude, you're not going to teach me how to bench 800 pounds if you bench 225.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Right. And again, both of us are smart enough to know you don't have to bench 800 pounds to be a good coach. Yeah. We both know that 100%.
And there are 800 pound bench pressers that are horrible coaches.
Tons. And despite knowing that, there is still some bit of credibility. Yeah. And, and I think for me, the being able to go forward and be able to share the bigger concepts and bigger message, like I said, and like what you want to do and talk about depression and mental health and how training got you through it and how you've been able to use that to fight it. Mm-hmm. If the rest of your life's not together, people won't hear it.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's been always such a good driving force for me is like, if you really want the message out, this is the work. Yeah. The work isn't the lifting the weights.
Yeah. You got to show that what your theories are actually working.
Yeah. Because if they don't work on you, then what the fuck are they?
This is very true.
Now we touched on it a little bit, but we talked about suicide. I've been really fortunate that wasn't anywhere. I have a weird relationship with it, I guess. So my father, when he finally passed away at the end of, I guess at the end of his life in 2014, shot himself, was dying of pancreatic cancer and like hospice had been moved in. This isn't what I would consider suicide. This is death with dignity. Yeah. It's way more than
choosing how you want to go out instead of a very painful, slow, shitty death.
And this also wasn't a long mental health battle my father had.
Right.
This was, I'm tired of dying. Yeah. I'll just die.
I would rather just have this be over with you.
And so I look at it that way and it doesn't feel like my dad committed, like you and my dad don't have the same problem.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I have a real struggle with that. And at the same time, like, when I got in a really bad place with the chronic pain in my leg, like that's the only closeness I've had with real depression. And I definitely got depressed during that window, but didn't realize that I just took it all as chronic pain.
Right.
And, never got to a self-harm place, but I was also very aware that had the last surgery in my knee not gone well, I wouldn't have lived like this forever.
Right.
I know that I wouldn't have rode out the fucking clock.
Yeah.
But I'm not, I don't know. Like, I guess I don't I don't feel like people are obligated to be here. You know what I mean? And I feel really, really bad for anyone that I feel so desperate and backed into a corner that they've actually consider not being here.
Yeah. And
I just have such an empathy for that lost.
Right.
That you don't have answers and you don't know what to do.
I mean, I'm all for freedom, man. I'm an American to the bone. So I understand what like nobody has an obligation. It's your choice. It's your life. The problem that I have, and the ironic thing is, I remember one of the kids in high school committed suicide. I refused to go to his funeral because I'm like, that's a chicken shit way out.
I felt the same way.
Bullshit. Like, I don't get it. And in life, fucking drop kicked me in the goddamn face.
Yeah. I felt the same way, man.
You're going to experience it, and let's see what you think then.
Yeah.
And so the thing that saddens me about suicide, going through it, and I know it's different for everybody. But I think in some ways it's similar for everybody too. Most of the people that commit suicide is because they can't see the light. Like, all they see is darkness, and it's so consuming. And it's like, there's multiple people that have committed suicide that affected me. One of them was Dave Mirra, and I never even knew him.
Right.
But, BMX guy, like, I know Dave.
Yeah.
And he was such a great guy, and he was doing such a great things for kids and communities. And even before he died, they were planning to open a new park for the kids. And I just thought, God, dude, if I just knew him and he could have called me.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's just sad to see someone like that. And I think the only thing that saved me is, for some reason, I have this light in my soul. And it's never gone out. It's gotten really dim, but it's always there. And I've always been able to find some reason to not do it. But it's hard. Like, it's hard, and you really have to search for it. And I think it was one of the guys for Lincoln Park that committed suicide.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And then, like, one of the guys at work is like, God damn, did you hear about that? That's bullshit. He's got 8 kids. And I go, hold on. Like, you're not seeing the right side of this. No. I go, hold on. You don't
think he fucking knows that?
I go, give me about an hour and let me come back and talk to you.
Yeah.
And so I went and thought about it, and I go, how can I explain this to people that haven't been through it? Because even I didn't know it till I went through it. And I came back and I go, okay, we had like stripes on the floor, yellow stripes. I go, can you walk that stripe? And he goes, oh yeah, it'd be a piece of cake, like heel toe, like all the way through. I go, okay, what if that was a beam and that was 40 stories in the air? Could you do it? And he's like, well, I don't know. That'd be pretty scary. And I go, why? You walked it on the floor. What's the difference if it's 40 stories up? He's like, well, you could fall off and die. I go, okay, well, the same thing that's in your body telling you not to do it because it's 40 stories up when you could easily do it if it was on the ground. That's kind of the opposite effect for someone in suicide. Like, something in their brain, something inside of them is screaming, just do this. It'll end it all. Just do it. It'll end it all. And you have to try to fight that urge because there's so much more after that.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you're feeling at that point, it can get better, and it will get better. You have to stay strong, and you have to go through that. And you also got to be smart enough to, when you do get through it, go, wait a minute. Like, I need to kind of figure out why that happened, and I need to set up a plan to not let this happen again.
Yeah,
like,
get us back out of the woods.
At my worst, I actually sat down and I wrote an article for my training log. And anybody who's like knows my story knows this, but I always tried to find different ways to deal with it. One of my ways was photography, and I would do some really dark photography stuff. And then I also started writing about it, and I wrote one, and I decided it took me like 3 hours of staring at it to enter it, to send it out on the internet. And that was probably one of the best things I ever did, as scary as it was. Because I thought, dude, I'm all my sponsors. Like, I got up in the morning and I'm like, oh, I'm fucked.
Dude, no one's backing out.
I go, I'm going to lose my sponsors and everything's bad. And then the first phone call was one of my main sponsors. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And the first thing I heard as soon as I answered the phone, you got the biggest balls of anybody I've ever known in my life. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
And I was like, oh.
It's crazy that we'll build it that way, right? That we'll act like it's going to, I'm showing everyone this weakness. Mm-hmm. No one's going to fucking back you.
Mm-hmm. And it was the opposite.
It's always the opposite.
Like all these people that I thought had everything together were telling me their stories.
No.
And telling me how they went through it, but they had never told anyone else.
Everyone's got shit.
Yeah. And it was really cool to have that effect from people. And that actually kept me going, well, wait a minute, Chad, like somehow you got the balls to talk about this. Somehow you got the balls to get on a camera and shed tears because it's still so emotional for you. I go, you need to keep doing this. Like this is a gift that some people don't have. They can't do it. And again, to me, it's a challenge too. Like, can I be this open with people that I don't even know? Hey, here I am. This is me.
Now, do you notice that you get like feeling those challenges, right? Those little hurdles that pop up that like the nervousness of talking about it, the being more public, the pushing enter on that thing. Anytime I've leaned into that and followed that, like go against whatever that nervousness is, it's always been good.
Yes.
Like it's never a red flag of I can't, like I'm not good enough. It's always an exposure flag of like I'm showing people more about me than I should.
Yeah.
And it's never gone bad.
Yeah. I've never had it go bad. I mean, there's a few things here and there that people might say, but who gives a shit? I don't care. You can't please everybody. You know?
Never have been able to. Never have been able to.
So I mean, it's like for me, it actually, as hard as it can be at times, it still makes me feel really good. Makes me feel good that I can do it. It makes me feel good that I've helped people. Even when I think I came up with this concept when I was like 19, and it was like on my deathbed, all I want to know for sure is that I made a positive difference in this world. I don't care how big it is. If I was going to be on this planet, I want to know that I had a positive impact in this world.
So with that said, you have to know that, right? You know, that's a silly fucking thing. That's a silly fucking thing that you're going to say to me, right? That you're going to say, it doesn't matter how, you just said that. You said, it doesn't matter how big it is. Mm-hmm. And then you've also followed that up with people have reached out to you to say what your story meant. So would you say that's a 1% fucking increase in impact and positivity?
Oh, it is. It definitely is.
But yet you can't tell me.
That's what I'm saying. The funny part about my brain.
And I know it because I would do the same.
The funny part of my brain goes, yeah, but you could do more.
Of course. Of course you could do more, but that doesn't mean you're not doing well. Right. Like I run into that too. And it always manifests in different ways. When I was competing, it was always I could throw more, I could do more, I could be doing this better, blah, 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 blah. And now business wise, I mean, right now, I'm having fun trying to make money.
Yeah.
And so anything that goes that route is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I'll feel behind. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I fucking have no clue. I'm trying to figure this out. I should be smarter with this. I don't understand why I can't get it. And I know people that can. And then I have to have real moments where I'm like, you have an incredible private gym. Mm-hmm. You have a house where you want to live. You get to make content that you like all day. That's your whole job. Mm-hmm. Is making shit you're into. Fuck else do you want?
Yeah.
And like, I need both.
But I think that's our personality. And I think it's a good thing. Like
we're never going to be complacent.
We're never going to feel content.
Never.
It's not going to happen.
There's no such thing as content or perfect or enough. There's also no there. Mm-hmm. That's another big one. Is that if you ever think that it's like, if I can just get here, it justifies everything. Isn't that a scary
thought though?
But think about how many times I've done it. Like I've done it in the past with relationships and friends and any of this where I've been an asshole or any of these type of things. Like even if it's just I'm missing out on stuff because I'm focused on this other thing.
Right.
And because, and maybe handling it poorly because it's like, oh, they don't understand what I'm into. Right. Fuck them, blah, 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 blah. Right. And it's not their thing. They're not going to understand. Right. It's for you.
Right.
And so you just gotta, handle those people better. They don't know, they don't have it. And so you just have to keep doing your thing.
Yeah. But see, that's a challenge for me too. I like that challenge. Like, okay, I need to understand better and communicate better and be able to go, okay, well, this person just doesn't get it. So what do you care? Like just,
and at some point,
and it doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means they're
right?
different.
Like, because you don't see bees explaining to flies that honey's better than shit.
Yeah.
If you're not, at some point I'll explain, but if you're not willing to jump on board, that's fine.
I do though, because there's a part of me, I like helping people. So if I see people that have a problem, or like say the person that bitches about his job, it's like, dude, it's your choice. Like, your choice. Go get a different job.
Get a different job.
But there's a point where, okay, I want to help them, but they're not going to understand.
No,
you need to know when to cut that tie and go, okay.
But they also don't understand that maybe getting to help maybe 3 years from now, but we need to start now.
Yes. Yeah. At least start thinking about it.
Well, like, if you're unhappy with your job, it may take 3 years to get into a position or a job or a place that you'd like to be in, but we need to start now. It's when do you plant a tree thing?
But do people really, it seems to me, especially with all the turmoil we got going on in the world right now, I'm like, how much do people really think about, like, I hear people talk about wanting to be happy. It seems like they're always looking for external gratification.
That's how a lot of people measure.
Instead of going, to truly be happy, you got to go inside and you got to figure the things out in you, and that will help make everything else, like searching for that happiness and everything will be easier. What
are your big drivers for happiness? Like, do you know what your big buttons to
I don't know.
push are?
I struggle with happiness because happiness is an emotion to me.
Okay.
And if you're chasing an emotion, you're chasing fairy tales.
Man, I don't know that I would consider it like that. I totally get what you're saying.
Because can you ever get?
So what would you call it then? Like inner peace, or would you want to?
Yeah, like inner peace, or say I like to say that I want more happiness than other emotions. My goal is to be, man, if I could hit 80% of the time that I'm pretty happy, that'd be awesome.
Okay, I would describe it that way then.
But like the idea of going, I'm going to be happy all the time. It's like, well, that's not even realistic.
No, what I would say is as long as I don't have any of the overall feelings of absolute dread that everything's on fucking fire and the ship is sinking, then I consider it the side of happy.
Yeah.
I choose stress and frustration and headaches and problems to solve. Like, I keep putting those on my plate. So at least especially now that I only work for me, one of the things that comes with that is if I'm really busy and frustrated and stressed out, I'm choosing this.
Yeah.
So at some point I need to admit I like those things and then be like, okay, so this is what we like doing.
Yeah. And we do, because we like overcoming.
Oh man, I know.
Like, if we didn't have a challenge, we would be miserable.
I love the problem solving.
Yeah. Even when even with the weight loss thing, it's like, that's a new goal for me. And I'm excited about a new goal. And yes, there's some mental aspects of losing weight and all that stuff, but like, I'm excited about a new goal.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go, hey, Chad, do you think you could make an apparel company happen?
It's worth finding out.
Yeah. Like, it's exciting. It's exciting to me to go, hey, I want, like, because I see so many people in regular life that never challenge themselves.
No. And
I'm like, how could you be happy if you don't challenge yourself?
Right. And is it likely that you can make this go? Well, I guess it depends on where we put the bar.
What were the chances of me becoming a world record holding powerlifter?
Right.
Little to none.
Right.
And I managed to make that happen.
Do I think you're going to turn this into something bigger than Nike? Maybe not.
Probably not, but yeah.
However, that's a probably. I still can't right here say it's a 0% chance. I believe it's very unlikely.
Nike probably didn't know Nike was going to be Nike when they started.
That's exactly right. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
It's improbable. And there's a big difference in those two things. Impossible is you deciding you would like to now become a world record high dive specialist. I don't know that that's in the cards.
Pretty sure that's not in the cards.
And we could call that one impossible. Or flying. You being like, I'm going to master human flight.
A super high belly flop can win the Olympics.
Win the Olympics.
Gotta have a little bit of realism in there.
So with the Courage Barbell, you don't have a gym. But
I have my garage.
Sure.
Which is where I train people out of.
Perfect.
But I don't have like an actual gym.
Now, are you doing online training as well too, coaching?
I'm starting. I have a few clients and I'm trying to kind of grow that because I'd like to lead into that.
You should absolutely be doing that.
That's a struggle for me. Because I don't feel like you can do this perfect job online.
No,
but I also think I could do a better job online than a lot of people do in person.
Of course. But here's a different way to look at it. And this is what we've set up for Bonnie's business, and we've done it for mine too, is you have premium clients, right? That you get to work with one-on-one and have in the gym. Those are essentially hourly.
Right.
You can't have 200 of those.
No.
You don't have time.
Not going to happen. Yeah.
But you could have 200 clients that are online that get programming. They get less access to chat and Chad's time. And then that works. Like these people are still getting a great benefit from you.
Right.
You know, they're still getting the coaching. They're still getting the mindset. They're still getting your process.
Right.
And then that feeds the other system. Like, hey, we have an opener in person. And then you have a group of people that are ready to go.
Right.
I mean, and then even from there, like we have 2 other tiers. There's a tier that's like this setup, which was what we use with Train Heroics programming setup on their platform. So it's like $30 a month, $1 a day. They get programming and there's a little bit of chat that we're on enough to answer questions.
Right.
And then Bonnie's got another one with Bonchro Go that's like $6. You get a PDF. Here's your daily workout.
Not even a PDF.
Right.
It's just online.
Yeah, it's just online. They log in. And so, I mean, you can scale fully with 3 different tiers. And that way people are always getting still you.
Right.
Now, what you can sell them on is for $6 a month or that they get daily lifting.
Right.
What information you want to also add into the lifting as far as breath work or meditation or any of this, like that's where you get to help.
Right.
And show these different aspects. And so I feel like there are people doing the online training really well.
Oh yeah. I think
they're fully facilitating their customers.
Right.
You choosing not to is you not figuring out the best way to service the people that want you. And if they want to work with you because of your story and your background, fucking help them.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. That's where I've started taking on a few, and I'm trying to kind of work on how, like where I want to go with it. And I'm trying to talk to people like you guys.
Sure.
And how are you guys doing it to give me more ideas for where I want to go with that? Because I still, like I said, I still think, dude, I have like, if there's one thing in this world I know, like strength training is definitely my,
of course, well,
my
you're
best
an expert.
area.
You spent 20 years doing it. Yeah. You spent 20
So it's
years
like, I
it.
feel like I can give people a lot better than like just people that are going to
Of
Robo
course.
Gym,
Yeah,
with some
of course.
18-year-old kid who's took a course.
But man, you know, I felt really weird about that role for a long time, especially as like, you know, fucking elite lifter that trained and competed and did real weights and all this type of shit. Right. And so I got really weird situation that I had that kind of ego about that job. Like I've never fucking trained anyone. I've never been a trainer in a gym. I've never had to do any of it. So I don't fucking know. But when I moved up to St. Louis, I was fucking broke post-divorce and got really lucky working with Good Life, a gym out of Canada. It's like 400 of them. So I'm going up like twice a month to doing seminars. It's paying well, but I'm coaching their trainers. And what I realized, like that position in Good Life is a big box, big gym. Like I said, there's tons of them, but they're a really quality gym. It's not quite probably like a 24 hours, probably is about the equivalent. And talking with their trainers and kind of what I realized, like what that role is, that Globo Gym personal trainer, like, yo, those are the gatekeepers. Those are the people that somebody finally got brave enough to cross the threshold of a gym door to get help. They're the first person to meet them. It isn't us. We're not on the front line of that fucking charge.
No.
They are.
The people are scared of us.
Of course. Of course. Or they don't know we exist.
Yeah.
This is someone who's sitting around and it's like, I guess I could try to go to the gym, or I feel like I want to, never goes, and then finally makes that move that day to like, well, I'll just swing by. You know, that final, like, well, I just decided to drive in today and I'll ask about the membership.
Yeah.
You know, get them in. Like, fucking make them train that day. Do something. Go walk with them.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you guys are the ones in the position that make these people decide, do they come, is training for them or not?
Right.
And like, fuck, man, that's an important fucking role.
It's a very important role because you can either scare people away.
Dude, no one coming in there is trying to be a world champion.
Or you can make them find, like, can I do this? Like I train some young kids too. And like my goal with the young kid is like, I want this kid to see gains, but I want him to have fun.
Yeah.
Like I want this to be such an impact on him that it becomes a lifelong thing.
Yeah. I want you to love this.
Yeah.
Dude,
And that's a whole different role than like, okay, hey, you come to me and go, hey, Chad, I'd like to do an 800-pound bench. That's a
very
totally different
goal.
thing. Very different thing.
And look, there's a very different goal in the than the how much I want to lift weights and exercise to be healthy.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be the strongest on the planet.
Yeah.
These are not the same. One is not a health goal anymore.
But ironically enough, though, they're all fun as hell to me.
Look, man, goals are fun relatively to the person.
Yeah.
I know plenty of people who have taken on goals that I go, that doesn't seem great to me at all. Why would I fucking want to bother? And especially the guys I know bodybuilding. Fuck, that looks hard. Because like, man, I look at
even right now, I'm like, oh, I can see a little ass.
Dude, I look at someone like Flex.
I'm never going to step on stage. There's no way I'll ever step on the stage.
Like someone like Flex, right? Like, I look at that. There's just so much meat on that little fucking skeleton. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck, man. I know that meat, that meat suit he has on is a combination of sets, reps, weight, and food.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I've spent 20 years doing sets, reps, weights, and food. And I look fucking nothing like that. Do you know how many more he's done?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, I've lifted so much.
Yeah.
And I don't look anything like that.
Well, it's funny because when I was down at Dragon's Lair, like I love bodybuilders, like because I grew up, like when I grew up, that's what you had. You didn't have strength training. You got bodybuilding magazines and you got bodybuilding books, and that's how you started. And so like I've always had this great respect for bodybuilders, and I know how hard the nutrition is for bodybuilder. So like I'm down there and I'm training too, and I'm going to talk. There was a couple of really cool professional guys when I was down there training, and I'm talking to them and stuff, and it's like, how much do you weigh? And I'm like, dude, I'm like 40 pounds heavier than you. How are you so big?
I know.
I'm like, how are you so vascular? Like, what the hell?
They're fucking crazy looking.
Oh, it is nuts.
And
it's nuts.
You know, it's also really funny to me, right, that how many times I look at like power lifters and diet changes and what fads come in, and we'll do fucking low carb and no fat and carnivore and do all these things to drop body fat. Meanwhile, the most muscular, leanest dudes are over here. And they've all eaten the same way.
Yeah, for the whole time. Yeah, they're not switching around with all these different diets.
None of them are doing low carb.
Yeah.
That's not the engine they build.
Yeah.
You build an engine that just fucking puts fire in it and eats all the time.
Yeah.
That's what most of us can't do well or consistently.
Yeah.
Is they're robots. Yeah.
I got to go pee.
Well, hold on. We'll just wrap up real quick.
Okay.
Well, dude, I appreciate it. I need to pee too. So, Chad, where can everyone find everything about you?
You can follow me on Instagram, just under Chad Aichs, and I have Courage Barbell on YouTube channel, which is a channel I'm trying to grow. A lot of lifting exercises,
right
talks,
on.
nutrition. Trying to talk a little bit more about my weight loss. Not that if you want to be a bodybuilder, I'm going to send you to somebody else.
Yeah.
But if you just want to look better and lose weight, like that's right up my alley. I'm totally good with that.
I think you should also talk more about the mental health stuff, man.
I do want to talk more about that just because it's a passion for me, and I've been through it, and I know what it's like to go through it. And if I can help somebody even eliminate or alleviate that a little bit, like that's huge. It's bad.
It's bad.
Like still to this day, when I get into it, like I'll have tears, and like because it's like it's just happened.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, my worst was probably in 2008. 2009 was probably my deepest depression. And it still feels like it was yesterday once I start talking about it.
Yeah.
Like it just all comes back.
Man, those cuts in there are deep.
Oh, they're very deep.
Well, dude, Chad, thank you so much, man.
Oh, it was awesome. I had a great time.
Anytime you want to come through, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot.
Good. Thank you guys, and we will see you next week.